Hello, good evening all. Welcome to the Cheese Room podcast, all the way from the Man Cave and around the world tonight. And what a show we have for you. Antonio Conte going rogue on everybody this week, including on Daniel Levy, giving some amazing interviews, giving out interviews like confetti, to be honest. So we'll get into that. And of course, the Manchester City preview as we move through the show. But firstly, let's welcome our guests. All the way. Well, in fact, we're bringing you the show from around the world, as I said before. The beautiful classical city of Vienna, the sunny cosmopolitan metropolis of Melbourne, and of course, the home of Butlin's, Bognor Regis. That's where I was teeing up the joke, and I forgot my notes. Thanks for that, John. So, John, how is Bognor today? Did you survive the hurricane?
Just about, though. My wheelie bin has been arrested for drag racing down Bognor seafront. But apart from that, just about, yes. It's a little bit windy still.
Yeah. If I was going to define it, it's a little bit windy. I mean, the British like to make a fuss about literally everything. I know there's a few trees been uprooted and stuff. Saw it when I drove out earlier. But the worst I had, my beach ball went out of the garden, and I don't know where it's gone. I put it where I thought it was safe in a corner, and some sort of vortex
Hasn't it gone into Sunderland's net?
It's gone somewhere. Could be. So yeah, we're beach ball down, but I haven't told the daughter yet, so I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. There you go. Serves me right for leaving out in the wind, really. And I understand, John, you've been potty training like me this week.
Well, I thought age 45, I should probably get out of nappies now.
Yeah.
But yes, my 2-year-old's been doing really well. She smashed it already, clicked it. She's pretty much done already. Takes herself off to the potty or even to the toilet. Job done.
Well, my daughter
probably easiest.
My daughter's lulled me into a false sense of security because I thought she'd done it. She'd cracked 4 days being completely dry, celebrating every poo known to man. And then all of a sudden this afternoon, the sofa got it. Full pelt after a slush puppy. So, yeah. And I've taken the protective cover off it, thinking, oh, yeah, she's cracked this. Yeah, we've got this. No. Toy Story 2, it must have been too hypnotic, and she missed the potty. Wonderful. So there we go. That's enough potty talk. All the way from Austria, it's our resident analyst and teacher. It's the Harlow Globetrotter. How are you, HG?
Yeah, certainly teacher is the second most important thing I do. I don't know, but I'm all right. It's been a good week. There's no storm here, so I just get to all my kicks are watching the same aeroplane videos that everyone in the UK as the planes try to land in Heathrow. But
good. And finally, we're contracted to have an Aussie on at least once a month. And as Davo is currently at a saga over 50s holiday, we thought we'd upgrade, and here's his much better looking and younger replacement. JP, how are you? How's the weather today?
Doing well. Blue skies, not a blade of grass blowing in the wind, so can't complain. A little bit chilly. Put the jumper on, but other than that, great. We've
chilly.
A little bit chilly. Little bit.
What temperature is it?
13 at the moment.
Okay. What will it get
short
up to
sleeves?
Today?
Short, maybe 18. I don't know. It's not going to be a warm one, but it's nice out.
Not going to be a warm one, mate. Okay, good. Look,
he's got a fan already.
There you go. Exactly. Dave, you're sacked. We appreciate you all being here. Super chats and stickers are available. Get involved during the broadcast. A reminder, it's the best way to get your comments on the air. And before we just crack into it, I'm going to just give this shout out from our sponsors. So you'll know the show is supported by Football Prizes. And they've got some fantastic prizes coming up. So here's the latest one. So there's a Harry Kane signed and framed White Hart Lane street sign, $3.95 for that. Only 65 tickets, so really good odds of winning that. And of course, some more hospitality tickets, $3.95, only 100 tickets. So for $3.95, you can have a 1 in 99 chance of winning 2 hospitality tickets to Spurs versus Everton. What more could you ask for? That's better than playing the lottery. So stick your money in something you might actually win. and have a chance of winning. And of course, using the code POD10, you can save even more money thanks to the podcast and football prizes for bringing you this promotion. In addition to that, they've got another prize, hospitality tickets, Leeds versus Spurs on the 26th of February, and that competition ends 22nd of February. Of course, Patreons get an even better deal, 3 for 2 on tickets, I believe it is. And for more details on that, you can join. You too can be a patron, and the details are on the scrolling ticker at the bottom, the www.patreon.com/cheesering-podcast. And there's great stuff on there. There's exclusive content, interviews, written articles, and you get to speak to all of the cheeseheads who are part of that. There's a lot of them now, actually. Part of that group. We've got a chat group, special discounts, and merchandise coming very soon. I had a cheese room mug arrive today as a sample from the factory, and I've got to say they're looking fantastic. So I look forward to seeing many more patrons joining at the end of this show. That's enough plugging. I've done enough plugging. I want to talk about the big matters at hand. Man City, Saturday. Man United would have a chance in that one. Man City, 5:30 kickoff, live on Sky, I believe, this Saturday. So, I mean, we haven't got. You'll note we didn't invite Andy or anyone from Manchester City back on the show, or Sham for that matter. After last time, we thought we'd just discuss it between ourselves and keep it civil. Because it was absolutely a car crash last time. We had a Manchester City guest on, mainly because they're arrogant arseholes. But let's talk City. John, you looking forward to it?
No, not at all. After last week, definitely not. Probably the worst team we could play.
Have you got a theory, John, as to how we could turn them over, how we could beat them?
So I wrote myself a little plan here, a little point plan. It's 9 points. There's probably going to be many other things as well. JP can add, but number 1, don't defend like 12-year-olds. I'm sorry if I'm offending 12-year-olds. I think it's a fair point. Number 2, a bit more serious. Keep the ball.
Yeah.
If they're going to press us, which we know they will, play up to Kane. And if that's not working, play it over the top or through the top for Son to run onto, because we know they'll play a high line. Pretty simple.
Yeah, true.
Number 3, break with pace and precision, which is quite hard to say after a gin, so I'm doing all right. 4, we're going to have to be clinical. We're not going to get many chances, are we? 5, shoot. Ederson does not have a great record when we shoot. How many times has Son scored against him? The goal at White Hart Lane.
True.
He just watched it go in.
True. Even Lamella has scored against him. That's
Lamella side-footed it from 25 yards and it rolled. It wasn't even in the corner.
No, it was anywhere near the corner. It was Lamella. No. Of course it wasn't near the corner.
The one thing that Ederson's good at, 2 things. Kicking. With the ball at his feet, he's unbelievable. He should be an outfield player. And one-on-ones, he's excellent. But his actual shot stopping isn't the best. And the reason he doesn't concede loads is teams don't shoot because they don't get the chance.
Yeah.
6, don't defend like 12-year-olds. Thought I'd just throw that in again there. 7, concentrate. So probably best we don't play Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, definitely.
8, read the game and adapt if it's not working. And that goes for our manager as well. And 9, something the players really, really need to do is take responsibility and stop blaming each other. And just I know Kane tried on Sunday to take responsibility, but that's what they've got to do. And that's the only chance we've got of winning the game, unless Man City just decide to not turn up.
You never know. You look. I just want to interrupt this broadcast slightly because Bob Spur is in the chat. And most of you who watch this show will know Bob Spur, been on the show several times. Lovely guy, really top bloke. Has been really poorly with COVID. Clearly on his way back. So much love, Bob Spur. Fantastic to see you're back, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show before you know it. Hope you're feeling better, mate. Yeah. Yeah, HG, top that. I mean, John's got like a 9-point plan. Anyone would think he's going into some sort of election, campaign or something with a battle plan like that. Dave clearly improved. He's a big fan.
I hear there might be a vacancy soon, at Spurs, so I thought I'd give it a
go. Antonio's got the flip chart out and he's copying it all down.
Yeah.
He's going to pin it around on individual sheets of paper around the dressing room. Take responsibility.
I want to say this is a point from Keith. We have got a good record against them. We are their bogey team. It's probably fair to say that, HG.
At home.
Shh.
Yeah, quite.
No, that's not strictly true, John. That's not strictly true. I'm pretty sure we went up there. Was it last season? Got a draw, or the season before?
Wait.
And don't forget, Crouchy put us in the Champions League for the first time on their turf. So it's not all doom and gloom up there.
And I think we won in Manchester in 1993 as well. Should we bring that one up?
If you like.
It's what was it? 2 years ago, just after Don Belli signed, that we got a draw up there because we scored with our 2 shots, and that was it. We beat them on Valentine's Day. Was it when Eriksen scored right at the end? It seems, weirdly enough, that our best results at Man City came when Eric Lamela was involved. So we are definitely going to win now that he's not involved anymore. No, look, none of us expect anything. We didn't expect anything on the first game of the season. We fluked it then. We could maybe try something similar, but that was 4-3-3 back then. So it would be weird to see Conte do that. But you do think that we're going to be defending a lot, and as John said, concentrate. I can imagine Antonio Conte for 90 minutes just yelling "concentrate" in various languages at various players as we hoof the ball upfield looking for the corner flag. Keep the ball
from the 3rd minute.
Yeah, so it's funny. There was there's an English guy who kind of works on the Bundesliga. And he got upset in the week about, German commentary saying that it was a very British goal. Like, what does that mean? It means it was like in off someone's arse. It means it was from 2 yards after a scramble. That's how people see kind of British football, and that may be what we need, because we're not going to outplay Man City. We might get a few chances possibly, but we have to be brave in midfield, and I'm not sure we have the players to do it. So we are going to be defending for our lives and hoping that maybe from a set piece, which we know we're really good at, that we might get something from it. But I don't know. I think it always depends on Man City, these games. Even when we've beaten them, a lot of it has been kind of on them, not taking their chances or not playing De Bruyne or whatever it is. It's a shame that away goals don't count, because we're 1-0 up after one game. If we lose 2-1, do we get 3 points again? Is that how it works? We are. I'm tempted to watch the Bundesliga game tomorrow night, and I don't even know what it is. If it's Eintracht Frankfurt, I may well watch it. But it's... Oh, man, we just want to get this one over with and then focus on the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's Cologne against Frankfurt.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll watch neither, because Frankfurt have been pretty ropey recently as well. But they should beat Cologne at least. Anyway, back to Spurs.
Split screen, get them both on. JP, what lineup would you like to see?
What do I want versus what I think we're going to get? Probably 2 very different things. I think John said before, keep the ball. We're not going to do that. So let's at least give ourselves a chance when we get it to put a foot on it. I think we have to build 3 in the midfield. I think if we play 2 against Man City, they're going to just pass straight through us, and it's going to be 6. So I'd like to say the 3-5-2. I think we're probably more likely to see a 4-3-3. But I'd like to see a 3-5-2 with Højbjerg, Bentancur, and maybe Winks or maybe Kulusevski in the midfield. 4:30 a.m. start. No, I'll watch it in an hour and a half delay.
Probably a wise move.
Not for Man City.
I just love the mate.
No chance. There are games I'll absolutely be up for. That's not one of them.
Okay. Well, the team news is Dyer is back, so that's positive. Conte suggested one unknown player has come out with COVID. He's blooming in COVID, and the other 2 players out obviously are Tanganga and Skip, who are close but not quite there. Back to you on this one, John. Who's the mystery man with COVID?
Well, obviously, Mr. Rodon got talked up on Monday, didn't he? So it's blatantly going to be him, because he might have a chance getting in the team from the sound of what he said on Monday. But knowing how lucky it'll be Son or Kane.
Yeah.
Oh no, Son's just had it, hasn't he? So hopefully not.
Knowing how lucky it'll definitely be Son.
Any theories on who's got COVID, HG?
All right, in my best blankety blank style, here we go. Can you see that?
Bentancur.
Wouldn't that be great? We all want 3 in midfield, and with Skip out and Bentancur with COVID, we are yes.
So the word on the street is that it might be Reggie.
Oh.
Reggie. Lots of votes for Reggie. That is the Twitter rumor, I think. So yeah, Sessegnon might get another bite of the cherry.
And he did well against Liverpool.
Good evening, Matt. If it's Bentancur, I will cry. Yeah, no, I think we all will, mate. I think we all. Matt's written a really good article on Bentancur as well, which we've. There's a link on the Facebook group, so go check that out. As to how he's going to really help push our midfield forward in the future.
Hey, look, if this is the logic for it, then thank you, because none of us have really had the time to look at those training videos. But yeah, if he's not there, that might be a pretty good sign. It's Reggie.
Let's be fair. Kane didn't turn up for training one day, and everyone thought he wasn't going to start. I think it was, was it Daigle that sort of said, "Well, he's not at Tottenham way because I'm protesting outside. He's definitely not come in, so he's got COVID." So on that logic, it might not be Reggie. That's all I'm saying.
If it is Reggie, I don't think Cess is necessarily the worst option here as well. At least he'll give us much more progression going forward, which might let Conte think about 3 in midfield. Yeah.
Well, Cess was definitely fit last weekend because I was with Steve Diver in the Tunnel Club after the game and he was back slapping and hugging everybody. So, if he was infectious then.
He'd only run around for half an hour, so it was like, true. I've got lots of energy to give.
True, that's true. HG Sporting played 3-4-3 Tuesday, got dismantled by City, absolutely dismantled. Should we definitely be playing 3-5-2? Is that what you want to see?
Well, yeah, we say 3-5-2. Let's face it, it would be like, probably 5-4-1 by the end of it. It's weird. Like, we always talked about when Nuno took over and when Conte took over that we had the players for a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. I mean, 3-5-2 was always what we wanted. Now I don't think we do have the players for that. It's almost like, we've got a right back that doesn't want to be a wing back. It's almost like, well, maybe like Reggie, when he was at Sevilla, played as a left back more than a wing back. Like we might be looking at a Jose Mourinho kind of, 4-4, 2 banks of 4 and punt it and hope might well end up being our best thing. Like we talked in the past about playing on the counter attack against these teams, and that used to be the old school, 4-5-1 or 4-3-3 with wide players. That might work too. Because our midfielders aren't the most creative; they are quite defensive. If it's Bentancur and Højbjerg just sitting there trying to pass it wide to Son or Bergwijn or Lucas, that could work too. So it does feel weird that within 30 minutes of going 2 goals down against Wolves, we went to a back 4. Why not try a back 4 again? Why not have to kind of keep it compact in the middle and allow Man City to have the flanks because maybe their crossing isn't the best. Kyle Walker can't cross the ball. We know that, and so if De Bruyne doesn't get out wide, we should be okay. But it's like that might be the best for this game. But logically you'd think long term you want 3 at the back. But with Dyer and Romero as a partnership at centre half, maybe why not? It's we talked about concentration. We know that Sanchez is quite comfortable to just kind of stand on the edge of the area and head the ball away. That's what he's good at. So I don't know. Somehow I feel like if we do try and play that, let's say like a lower team does against Man City, we might get something from it. But if we try and be too expensive, they'll take us apart.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is scandalous. Like literally made me fume. Just now when I checked my phone. There's 102 people watching the show and only 23 likes. So please, for the love of God, hit the like button. Come on. Gov says 3-4-1-2. Kulu in the number 10. No Lucas. I think we'd all be happy to see no Lucas, right? JP, would you agree with that assessment? would you play that formation? I mean, it's almost 3-5-2, isn't it, with Kulu dropping in?
Yeah. I think we're more likely to see Lucas at the 10 than Kulu, but I would be happy to drop Lucas for this match. He gives you energy, but when we get the ball, we're going to need to be able to pass it and pass it well, and he doesn't give you that. So I'd be happy for Kulu. Also be happy to see Bergwijn in the 10 as well, swapping with Kane.
HG, as I haven't got a delightful Manchester City fan on the show to ask this question to, in fact, I'll ask John because he's much more delightful than you.
Fair enough.
How good is this Manchester City team? I mean, if I had one of those Manc boys on, would they be saying this is the best City team ever?
They'd be saying it's not oil money to start off with, but not tell us where it's from. In all seriousness, Liverpool are a class team, and they're 9 points ahead of them or something.
Yeah.
City are just grinding out results, and without a striker as well. They're playing Phil Foden, aren't they, as a false 9, and they're just unbelievable. They'll just keep passing you to death and waiting for that mistake to happen. Mahrez, yeah, it will happen several times, unfortunately. Mahrez has really stepped up again this season. Bernardo Silva, did you see his goal on Tuesday? His half volley. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brilliant strike. But I think he's got a good chance of being player of the season. He's been brilliant. Probably even better than De Bruyne, and we know how good De Bruyne is. But defensively, they look solid. And it's going to be tough to break them down with Diaz and is it Laporte playing most of the time with him? John Stones was playing right back the other day, I noticed. And they just rotate, so he gives them all a game out. So they're rested all the time. But I've really struggled to find we're going to have to be so on our game, and City are going to have to be off it to have any chance to get anything out.
Well, in fairness, that's exactly what happened first game of the season, wasn't it? I mean, I was there. Yeah. We had everything going for us that day. Scored a goal, kept it tight. But the press, it felt like the press was back that game because we didn't give them a second on the ball. And that's what it's going to be like, whilst not leaving any gaps, which is really difficult. But I'm really interested in this. What do Australians call a woolly hat?
I'm assuming he's referring to what's on my head.
Yeah.
A beanie?
A beanie? Is that it? They call it that over here. I was hoping it was...
Yeah. What do they call it in Vienna, HG? Need something exciting to pull this out.
I know, like they call it a beanie. There is another Australian word for it though. I'm sure there is because I can't remember what it is, but I think there is another one for beanie. You use like a toque or something. Is that it?
Why are you asking us?
Well, I'm asking the Australian.
Someone tell you about drop bears when they were telling you that as well.
I don't know.
Tell you what to do. Ask Davo. Davo, drop it in the comments because, as usual, your jokes or attempts at jokes are lost on everybody, except yourself. Raheem Sterling, 127 goals in 323 games now for City. He scored. I'm not sure this is right. This is what's in the run sheet. 9 consecutive years, he scored 10 or more goals for City.
So City and Liverpool. City and Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he overrated? Is he unfairly criticised? Because all I ever hear the father-in-law do is moan about how overrated he is. And I know, HG, you've got some beef with El Sterling, but his record's pretty decent, isn't it? Is he a flat-track bully? Is that the issue?
Well, I don't think he would score as many if he didn't play for Liverpool when they had Sterling and when they had Sturridge and Suarez. And for City, I think he is a flat track bully in the fact that he scores tap-ins against, when everyone else has done all the major work. Like he's a good player, right? But he's very good in tight spaces. But I think it's quite easy to kind of push Sterling out of games. So I don't know. He's not in the top 10 City players as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it.
I think he's drunk because he's now asking, why is he wearing a woolly hat in the summer? Hurrah! I'm lost.
I think he's leaving. He's probably taking the boys to basketball. That's what he does.
Well, Dave, if you're still here, tell us what the Australians call a woolly hat because I'm still none the wiser. If it's a beanie, where have you been? That's how most English-speaking languages refer to that style of hat.
We have another name for it. I don't know it.
The thing is that Dave's got so much hair for an old man that he probably
Yeah,
doesn't
not a
wear
lot.
hats because he wants to show it off. But yeah, for those of us that don't have as much, we might wear hats a bit more often. But yeah,
True that. Phil Foden, the perfect false nine. Is he HG?
Oh, perfect. I mean, like he's really good at keeping the ball, and he's like defenders. They like to have him in front of them, but yeah, you have to worry about the runners. And with a false nine, it should be all about the runners that you get. Like when Barcelona did it, it was usually the wingers Messi or Neymar, whoever it was that would make the runs in, and the false nine was just kind of there to confuse the defenders. You can't allow Foden to receive the ball, but you also want him to be as far away as goal as possible. It's a bit odd. I don't know about he's the perfect false nine, but he's a very good player, and they found a way to get him into the team more often. I know that Kyle Walker said it was his 150th appearance for City in the week. It's a big deal for someone who's 21, maybe 22. I don't know how old he is now.
Yeah.
Like he obviously plays a lot, and they found a way to involve him much more. Now that David Silva's gone, he's getting more minutes. But like City can hurt you from wherever. Like that's the weird thing. Like I feel like beanie was an Aussie term. Yeah, but
So
the whole
literally-
world uses it, Dave.
The whole world uses it, Dave. They call it a beanie in Slough. Yeah. Jesus. Okay. Well, let's take some predictions of the impending doom then. John, what are you saying?
I've gone 3-0 City on the predictor.
Come on, let's have your best predictions in the comments as well, and I'll stick the best ones up.
Shall I just I'll just read you this on our Patreon group. I want to read you this little thing that Jack Hoyle put up earlier. He's gone through the predictions by the Patreons and worked out that the average prediction so far is 3.9 goals to City and 0.6 to Spurs. So I think it's pretty. We're very much thinking it's going to be a City
Who
smash.
did that?
Jack Hoyle.
He's got too much time on his hands.
He really has.
Truly has. And this is that's another great thing on the Patreons, isn't there? There's football predictions. There's a prize for that end of the season. I think it's a signed photo of some Spurs legend. I'm not sure which one. And of course, we've got fantasy football going on as well. HG, your predictions?
I think Frankfurt will win 2-1. Oh wait, City 3, Spurs 1. Spurs will score. They'll give you some kind of hope, but no, I think City should win. I mean, none of us want it to happen, but let's face it, they should score. So 3-1 City.
And JP, what are you saying?
I'll look the mug just to be different. I'll say Sonny's going to get one in the 92nd minute. And it'll be the third
6-1
touch
City.
of the ball we have in the game. 1-0. 1-0 Spurs.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs. I'm agreeing with Gov, actually. I'm going to go through these now, right? So we always turn up against City. Please don't let me down, lads. City 2, Spurs 3. There you go. Adrian's feeling very optimistic. Cameron, however, is feeling more realistic. 4-1 City. Gov, 2-1. Take 4-0 City. 2-2. 5-1. I fancy Man City to get at least one goal. Yeah, good. 5-1 if we play 3-4-3. A 1-1. Yeah, 2. There's a 2-1 Spurs there as well. So there are some optimists in our group. You know, at the end of the day, we've got optimists and pessimists here in the cheese room, and that is fantastic.
It is Friday night, and so everyone's been drinking. That's all I can say.
I mean, I'm only on my second beer Moretti tonight in tribute to Mr. Conte, who we're going to come on to shortly.
Hugo is due a good game after the Wolves as well.
Wow.
He usually saves them for City. So there's hope.
Yeah. 3-0. If anyone plays FIFA, they'll know what this means. We get to 3-0 and then we rage quit. Just walk off. Happy days. Right. Birthdays. It's happy birthday to Jermaine Jenas. JP, do you know how old Jermaine Jenas is?
Not a clue.
Okay. HG, any guess? Do you want to hazard a guess?
39.
Spot on. Well done. It's almost like you read the run sheet.
I didn't read the run sheet. I don't have access to the run sheet.
Well, look, I think he's the same age as this man, and I'm going to say which of these people has aged better and looks more youthful. Or that one. There he is. Steve, we love you, you living legend. Jenas is age better. I'm going to save you all the trouble. I'm not going around with the room with that one. Okay, question time. JP and HG got some bits for you here. JJ played 202 games for Spurs, League and Cup. How many goals do you think he scored? I'll take the nearest. The nearest answer gets the point. JP, you first. No Googling. HG, no Googling. I can see the reflection in your eye.
15.
HG?
That was literally going to be my guess.
16.
Yeah, I was going to say, quite. I can go either way here. Well, he scored at
I don't want to put pressure on your answer, but the
Yeah.
winner gets a signed picture of Steve Diver. Yeah. And the loser gets dinner with Steve Hitchin.
Yeah, I'll be brave. I think he scored more than 15. So let's go. I'll be cheeky and go 16.
I tell you what, HG, you're taking that dinner home tonight. Dinner with Steve Diver, all expenses paid, quaffing champagne. He scored 26 goals for Spurs, which is more than either of you thought. Unfortunately for you, JP, Steve Hitchin will be in touch with a date as to when he can make it. In his very busy diary, now he's unemployed. I'm sure he'll fly out to Oz and take you up something nice.
But it won't be January.
His total career stats: 437 games, 47 goals. So there you go.
All right, so we got over half of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We saw the best of him. Oh, there's a super chat come in. So there we go. We've got to go to this. Love the show. My question is, in order for us to properly challenge for the league as Conte wants, what is needed in the summer? Who remains in each position? And what has to change within the squad? We are jumping ahead, but as it's a super chat, we'll hold it. We'll carry the interruption. Let's go to you, John, first for your answer.
We need a lot. That's what we need. We need a lot. We need minimum one centre back, probably two. We need definitely one right wing back. Depending on what happens with Cess and Reguilon, maybe one left centre back, left wing back. Sorry, one or probably two midfielders. We definitely one needs to be a creative player. We 100% need another striker, as we've been saying for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And probably a backup to Son as well, potentially, unless they think they can develop Bergwijn into that role. I think Lucas is probably going to have to go, isn't he? Unless he just becomes a squad player.
I think Bergwijn will be gone, to be honest.
Yeah, he's one worth the value, isn't he?
Allegedly.
But yeah, I mean, probably going to have to sign 7 or 8 players, realistically.
It's going to be a big rebuild, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
HG, any advice?
Can I say I love it when Caller goes super negative, the Brummy comes out even more. Possible.
What you mean?
Yeah. Can I just say to Crest, Jaelska Pinnershut. Anyway, fine. It was Norwegian.
I thought it might be. I was a bit. It certainly wasn't Australian.
Yeah. I don't know what the Norwegian for beanie is.
BD.
Yeah, quite probably. Because everyone says it, Dave. Everyone. Okay, so in order for us to properly challenge for the league, first thing, no European football of any kind. So we can throw the FA Cup, right? We can throw all the league. We can lose every game in the league. Don't matter. Let's finish 10th, no problem. If we want to properly challenge for the league, where we are with the squad we have, we need to do that. Right?
I wonder why Conte was throwing games.
Well, yeah, like the Chelsea ones, yeah, probably. But it's interesting. Players, like if Conte wants to do his 3-5-2, right, which we suspect he does, like Fabrizio Romano told us that's his thing, then we are going to need a left-sided centre back. I think I'll just leave it for the centre backs there, just a left-sided centre back. We're going to need a proper attacking right wing back. I suspect we'll need a better option on the left-hand side too. I don't think Reggie is really it. Sessegnon hasn't shown anything to really be that. I know that he won the league with Victor Moses, but still, I think that's pushing it slightly. But that Chelsea side had strong midfielders, and I still don't think we have them. As much as we like Højbjerg and we like Skip, they're not of the quality that Kante was or Matic was or even Fabregas. They're just not there. So we probably need to strengthen at least one in there. And as we talked about, another centre forward. So like we could get away possibly with challenging with 4, maybe 5. We'd have to do what Arsenal did last summer, where they bought 4 or 5 players, and most of them have actually come out looking pretty good for them. If we can do that and we only have league games to worry about, then possibly maybe we can have a Leicester type season and challenge. But yeah, like honestly, I don't want us to do any of those things, but I think that's what probably needs to happen for us to really focus on the league next year.
JP?
Yeah, mostly the same. I think we need definitely a left centre back. I'd say we probably need another centre back to replace Dyer. As much as I think he's been good, he hasn't. He's not going to win us the league. Definitely a right wing back. I'm okay with the left wing back situation, but then I think we need like 3 more midfielders, and then another striker. And I think that the difference in all of that is it's not just going out and buying 7 players, but it's 7 Premier League winning players. So all of that, what we need is about 500 million in the transfer window. And ironically, like I don't want to play Champions League football, but we need Champions League football to bring in those players. So all of those things have to come together if we're going to be any chance of winning the league. And we'll be lucky if we get 7 players.
I think you've got a fair point, HG, about European football. I think that would certainly help. In terms of what's needed, pretty much similar to the others. So right wing back is essential. Left-sided centre back is essential. Happy with the keeper, happy with the left back, happy with Dyer, and happy with obviously Romero. You look at the midfield, and I think we're at least 2 central midfielders short of where we need to be. You need a box-to-box and a creator for me.
Just remember, we have got Sarr coming in, though.
We have got Sarr coming in, but my hunch is he may well be loaned back out. Right. He's so young. So, I wouldn't think about that. And then we need a forward who's goal-scoring, who can sit on the bench, or some form of backup striker. I'm not suggesting we're going to go and get, Vlahovic or someone like that to be understudy to Kane. But, I mean, if you take Conte that he wants to play 3-5-2, then Son and Kane are your, top 2. You need someone behind that. You need another forward, another person who can put the ball in the net. Simple as that. To be able to have a reasonable title challenge. We look at Liverpool. The 3 forwards could all score goals, and then they've got Jota as well, haven't they? Yeah. That's the kind of rotation that you need. You need 4 really players who can find the net at the top end of the pitch. So 5 players. In terms of cash, I don't think you need 500 million. Just for the record, I think it's slightly over egging it, JP. For me, a couple of 100 million, 150 million, you could do a lot of damage. There's a lot of players available on free transfers this summer. If we're smart, we're going to be putting the feelers out now and trying to get some of those deals done early doors, because I believe you can probably sign pre-contracts now, can't you? So that's what I think. But again, the problem is we've got to get rid of the deadwood, and Lo Celso and the Bele are only on loan. They've only got on loan, so those situations will be needed to be resolved because they are very expensive players who take up a lot of payroll.
Well, we have to hope then that when Lo Celso plays Champions League next week, which he will, that he performs well, because Villarreal is still in it.
Yeah,
it's interesting because there are lots of things that can happen, that could happen. Like Dombele is obviously doing well for Lyon already, so maybe someone will think, well, maybe it's just Spurs, right? Maybe we just aren't the best fit for him. And certainly with Conte in charge, he's never really going to settle and become that player that Conte might want. But I do think there's going to be a team in Italy, or maybe even in Spain, that might say, look, well, again, it'll be a loan out, but I always think about one of my favorite players is Luka Jovic at Real Madrid, because he played for Eintracht Frankfurt and I watched him all the time. Like, if they sign Mbappe, which they look like they're going to, and they sign Haaland, which they probably could afford to, then there are going to be players around that will be looking for ways out, just like Bale did last year, just like lots of things. So we talk about, getting free transfers in the summer. That would be lovely. It'd be more difficult if we don't have European football, weirdly, but it would be lovely if we could do it. but I still believe that if there are gaps in the squad, then you can find them with loan players. Like Bayern Munich won a whole bunch of stuff, and they had Perisic on loan from Inter Milan. He goes back to Inter Milan and then wins the league under Conte. Like there are players out there that, for whatever reason, aren't liked by their current manager. We almost got Dybala for the same reason. Granted, he said that he was never really going to come to Spurs because he didn't want to. But at that moment, the manager at Juventus didn't really like him, didn't really want him to be there. There are going to be players like that. Just like, Lyon and Villarreal might think they've got a deal by getting Dombele and Lo Celso from us, because they easily could. I don't know. I just like buying 5 or 6 is unlikely because we still haven't physically bought Romero and we haven't physically bought Kulusevski. And maybe we don't, but if we're thinking to do those things, then that's another, 50, 60, 70 million gone. There's already spent. It's already been set aside for them. I don't know where we're going to go. Like, I think there are players to get, but Kerry made the point in the comments. If we don't have any European football, why pick Spurs? Is it just to play for Conte for a season, maybe 2, and then you look to go somewhere else? Like, players want long-term security, and maybe Spurs, even if we could offer it, everybody knows that we are one crisis away from another 3 managers. So it's a tough sell. I believe that. We pay decent wages, better than a lot of teams in Europe. But we are still a tough sell, especially if they're coming on a free transfer and can go pretty much wherever they want. You
mean they're not going to come for the training ground and the stadium with a roof that bounces in the wind?
Well, they're not going to come for the weather. I mean, it's still. I don't care how fancy London is. For most players in Europe, if you gave them a choice of London or somewhere in the warm, they might pick somewhere in the warm. Conte is the major selling point. But I think if anyone comes to Spurs, they would be crazy to sign anything longer than 3 years. That they'll be looking for a way out if they agree to do it. And again, there will be players primarily Italy-based who will think, I want to go and play for Conte. I want to really go and focus and give it a go. Why not? I'll get paid handsomely.
And Paratici, don't forget, obviously, he's a big pull, isn't he?
But not for the players. No, the players don't care about Paratici.
I don't know about that. I don't know. He signed Kulusevski, didn't he, at Juve? And Kulusevski said one of the reasons was to re-link up with him and play for Conte.
Yeah, but don't you think Juventus was the main draw for Kulusevski rather than the bloke who
who
dotted the paperwork? I know, but so he knows Paratici. Well, great. I trusted him before. He brought me to Juventus. I know who he is.
I think Paratici builds good teams. I think that's the point I'm making, and I think players will look at that and think. But anyway, so I hope that answers the super chat. As you can see, we do take the super chats really seriously, so do drop one in there.
Hiya Norge.
Interrupt whatever we're doing. HT will give you a bit of Norwegian. I did know some once upon a time, but I've forgotten it.
Hiya Norge.
Okay, let's move on from this and talk about Conte. So a lot of people have jumped on comments that Conte has made in 2 interviews this week. One would be in Sports and the other with Sky Italy. And then today he clarified what he actually meant in an angry rant. Well, not an angry rant, but an angry sort of, I'm getting a bit fed up with the press in the press conference, twisting his words, and the translation wasn't very good. So let's do it like this. I'm going to give you some of these quotes and then we'll discuss what he really meant by them. So first one, I've always said that I have to feel only 1% the possibility to win the league, he said in an interview with beIN Sports. Here it's strange because maybe I feel the 1% possibility to finish 4th. What did he mean by that, do you think, John?
So what he's saying about is I'll only go to a club if I think there's a chance we can win. But it's a bit 1%, 20%, 100%, whatever. And he came to Spurs knowing we weren't going to win the league this season. That was impossible. So was there a chance we can get Champions League? And that's what he was saying. And I think it's just got twisted a little bit out of context, and maybe the language hasn't quite translated properly. I think that's the problem.
Agree with that, HG?
Yes. I mean, it's interesting. Like, obviously, I don't speak Italian, but I did, stick it into. There's Yeah, quite. There's a translate system on the web called DeepL, and I use that a lot for German things because to make my German better. I stuck it in there, and it looked pretty damning, even if you translated it through that system. There was this one thing about that is the issue. I think is what it was translated as, and then on DeepL it talked about that is the question. So there's some kind of an argument over that particular word, but it doesn't look good because you don't need to say any of it. You don't need to say any of those things that can be relatively easily, misread by idiot journalists, because that's their job. That's what they do pretty much 24/7 is to take things out of context and then spread it and try and sell some
papers,
things.
or
So
advertising. Yeah.
it's interesting. Weirdly enough, I would Antonio Conte's English isn't amazing. He's got it's pretty good. Let's face it, it's better than all of our foreign language skills. But I just sometimes I wish was there really a need for any of that to be said? He's often said in every press conference, look, I'm happy to be here. That's it, done. You say that 300 times, they'll stop asking the question. And I felt like this week was very similar to when AVB kind of lost it with the press and talked about how we is us. And you get a lot of crap for saying that, but basically he'd had it with Neil Ashton or whoever it was. And I feel like Antonio Conte is kind of at that point where, look, why am I bothering? You're not listening to what I'm saying anyway. You're just going to say what you want to say. And I don't think it ended well for AVB. I don't think the press ever got on his side. And Conte, admittedly, it may have been a good thing to say what he said, to tell people this is what's up. But the press are just going to go into him even more now. They're not going to relax. They liked people like Pochettino. They liked people like Redknapp because they did feed them stuff. For Conte to come out and be like, well, no, this is not what I really meant, I don't think that's going to help him. I feel like Spurs are just going to be in the firing line even more now.
Okay, we've had another super chat from the legend that is Mr. Hayes. If you take these seriously and HG speaks my native language, I want to know if you think we'll ever get to top 4 under Conte in one word and HG's best Irish, which is ideal because it gives me the chance to go and pour myself another beer. So HG, knock yourself out.
I don't know any Irish. Is it like Bela ala Cliath or something like that for Dublin? That's about all I really know, and that's probably completely wrong. Ballykiss Angel. That's Irish, isn't it? It was a bad TV show, JP. Be glad you probably don't know what that is. Yeah. If I think we'll ever get top 4 under Conte, yes. If it's not under him, when's it going to happen? But look, it's not going to be easy. But I still think he's certainly one of the top best 4 managers in the league, and that itself should help us. But I want to say yes. So yes. What about you guys, John? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's an outside chance we could get top 4 this season if the players sort themselves out a little bit. But if we don't this season, we will next season, as long as he's still with us. That's the ultimate thing. JP?
Yeah, I have no doubt that if we don't this season, we will next. I think we're probably going to miss it this season. But yeah, I don't see us missing top 4 next season.
I think there's no reason why we can't do it this season because Caller can have a refund. I didn't get any Irish. Someone Google some Irish.
I did Google Schlaunter. That's Irish.
Schlaunter.
I probably said it wrong. I'm sure I've said it wrong. But the crack. Isn't that Irish?
Good crack. We're now offending the whole of Ireland, so we should probably start. And weirdly, John is like in some sort of vortex where he's fetching his cat or something. Oh, a drink. There you go. Top 4 under Conte. Why not? This season, slanty. Okay. Top 4 under Conte. Why not? Because this season we should do it. To be honest, we can be the best of the bad bunch. Absolutely, it's still on. Now, we're going to ride our luck and we're going to be relying on other teams. Absolutely. But so is everyone else right now. That's the thing. Like, Man United are awful. West Ham, inconsistent. Wolves, not got enough depth. You can look at all the teams and say there's reasons why they won't. Yeah. So I think Matt, I'm glad you're enjoying it. You get it. You're absolutely getting your €5 worth. There's
Slanter.
every chance we can do it, and absolutely next season I'd be disappointed if we're certainly not in the mix for the top 3 or the top 2, because Conte is that good, and if we back him in the transfer window, there's no reason why we can't. I mean, it's just whether or not we back him, which we'll talk about in a minute.
I just think we, as awful as this sounds, we need to win games. Draws don't help us in this situation. And so for Man United to go and beat Brighton midweek hurts, because you need to win your home games. And Spurs have, we laid an egg twice. Okay, Southampton deserved to beat us, but the Wolves game we were terrible, and that really mattered. The odds of us going to, was it Burnley and then Leeds? If we win those 2 games, then we'll feel a lot more comfortable. But I don't think any of us think that that's a guaranteed situation. Burnley, we probably could/should, but if the weather is bad this time in 5 days, it's not a great place to play. And Leeds are exactly the type of team that Spurs hate playing against, because they'll run for days against us. If we win both of those, then we'll sit here and be a lot more comfortable. But to have lost those 2 home games in a row, it does make things seem a lot tighter than we want them to be. We sat there with all these games in hand, and suddenly, now we've got 9 away games left and only 7 at home. It could be a real problem.
We're still only 7 points behind, 3 games in hand on United in 4th. So it's still, we win those. The scenario is still the same. Win those games in hand, and we're up there. It's just we've kind of had a couple of those games that were in hand already. The teams are harder that we have to beat now.
And we have to go to United. I mean, this is because we've got Arsenal at home, we've got West Ham at home. We have to go. I mean, so that's a good thing, right? We've got the more difficult games at home, but that United game could really be key. We can't afford to lose that one even now. And so I do think, as much as United, their results haven't been great, I think they've only lost 1 league game in about 12 or 13. So they're picking up points regularly, and if they do turn those draws into wins, we're behind the 8 ball. Absolutely. Well, I don't see us winning. Well, we've 17 games left, and we need 16 games left, and we need to win maybe 10 now to really guarantee it. And that's a really tough ask, and we need to sort something out quickly, because Man City win almost certainly not going to win that game. So it's a really difficult thing. I want to believe that we can do it, but we need to put a real run of form together, and that's looking not that likely right now. Sorry.
Go on, Jay. Go on. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, United's in 3-4 weeks as well, and it feels like the right time to play them is right now. So we need to be picking up points, and hope they're losing some over the period as well, to make sure that game hits us at the right time. I think if we played it now, we're going to play one of the other teams is going to play themselves into form and probably take that 4th spot. So it could be a good time that we play them in 4 weeks and not next week. But we need to win 2 or 3 games before that to make sure we're in a good spot for it.
Just look at their fixtures. They've got the second leg against they play Man City a week before us. Then they've got a free week. Play us on the 12th, and on the 15th they play the second leg of the Atletico Madrid Champions League game. So depending on how the first leg goes, they could have half a mind on that, which could help us. But they've also got Liverpool and Leicester and Everton just after they play us as well. So they've got, and Everton will be on the up. They'll have the Lampard kick. Leicester, you never know what they're going to be like, especially if they're still in Europa League. But they're going to drop points. But HG's right. They've only dropped. They lost the Middlesbrough FA Cup game on penalties, which they should have won because they had so many chances. And they've only lost to Wolves since Solskjaer got sacked in the league. So they're not going to lose many, but it's about winning. But I think we can go there. They are beatable at Old Trafford, which I've not said very often in my lifetime, I have to say. We just need to sort ourselves out from the 2 very poor performances we've just had. We need to get back to where we were against Brighton and even against Liverpool when we played 3 in the middle and Leicester.
I have a question for you. Do you think we're going to beat Borough in the Cup next week or whenever it is, 2 weeks?
On the basis that Shan's going, no.
because as John did, I looked at the fixtures. If we do get past Borough, we have one home game between now and April.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
One home league game
we were
between
chatting
now
about
and
this.
April.
Me and Steve Diver were talking about this because I think his next visit to Spurs is in April, and I think Everton on a Monday night is the only game in between now and April, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
It is.
So if either us or West Ham don't make, or if we both don't make the quarters, then we play West Ham. But if one of us makes the quarters of the FA Cup, then that game will get moved, and we'll have one home game between now and the 2nd of April.
Yeah,
This is the 6 weeks that will define the season. We need to get results away from home, and that means victories at Burnley. It means victories at Leeds. A draw at Leeds won't be enough, and that's worrying. I mean, if we beat Man United, then that can mask a few things, hopefully, and really propel us forward. But yeah, the next 6 weeks, we need to find a system that will work, and maybe 3-5-2 will give us the best chance of doing it. Because
how many of you? Let me ask you a question. How many of you gave us a chance? How many of you thought we'd win when we played Manchester City first game of the season with all the Kane furore and him not playing? Like, no.
Don't think I did. No,
it's possible, isn't it? It's possible. In football, anything's possible. And all I'm saying, I don't expect us to finish top 4 for anyone watching thinking, oh, he's off his head. I don't expect us, but I'm saying it's possible if we get a good run of results. And that does happen in football. It's happened before to Spurs. Look at us, how we got to the Champions League final, for goodness sake. It can happen. Have a little bit of belief and have a little bit of hope. We can do it. We can absolutely do it. We will need some luck along the way, it's fair to say. Back to Conte and his interview or two this week. One of the other things that there's been a lot of noise about, I've seen on the Twitter sphere, Benzema and Kulusevski are ideal prospects for Tottenham because Tottenham are seeking young players and they can develop and grow, not players who are ready. Although I think that got slightly lost in translation, but he didn't say. I don't think he said not players who are ready. He was basically indicating they haven't got a track record of buying players who are ready, which is true, right? Which is absolutely true. And he explained in his press conference that is the philosophy of the club to buy young players and develop them and bring them through. And he knew that when he signed up for the job. So again, there's a great degree of misinterpretation here, and it feels to me a little bit like, do you think there's a little bit of an agenda from certain parts of the fan base, maybe, as well as the media, to sort of almost drive a wedge between Conte and the club, JP?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a game and all of a sudden people were screaming out that Conte is going to walk. So I think there's an anxiety and fear amongst a lot of the fans, particularly those who want another reason to say ENIC out. But look, with regards to those comments, they're all correct. I didn't read into them too much other than to say that, yeah, that is the way Spurs behave in the transfer market. If we want to be super cynical and go down that road further, then I think that the issue we've got isn't so much the players that we've signed, it's the vision at board level, the director of football we've got in, and then the manager we've got in, all have kind of conflicting views on the type of team we want to be and the type of players we want to sign.
I mean, yeah, Gov made a good comment. John, how many times does Conte say we need patience and it'll take more than one window before people believe he's absolutely here for the project? Probably his 18-month deal doesn't really help that cynical attitude, maybe. But John, what's your take on it? Sorry, I'll come to you, HG, but yeah, go on. John first.
I think ultimately people want to hear what they want to hear. And it's a word we use a lot. Narrative, isn't it? Whatever something suits their narrative is the way they'll go with it. And the people that want to think that when there's some negative press about it, it's all going to be about attacking the ownership or whatever, or whether if the press are there to sell papers or try and get online hits, aren't they? That's their job. So they're going to make things sound sensational. That side of it. As far as Conte goes, I think he's been pretty, in those post-match and pre-match press conferences to the English press, he's been very much open and said, this is not going to happen overnight, which all of us know. Anyone with a brain knew that we were not going to have a massive overhaul in January. We hoped maybe we'd get 3 or 4 players. We got 2. But until the summer, when you can really do your business, it's not going to massively happen, is it? Conte was genuinely peed off at reporters making something out of nothing. Yes, he was. Absolutely. And again, it's the translation. Certain reporters have gone to town on this because their editors have told them to make it sensational. That's the fact.
The other thing on this is he's not saying anything that we didn't hear from Pochettino when he said painful rebuild. Like, this is effectively that, just in different language. I think we've kind of forgotten what painful means. Like, we're going through the pain. This is going to be a difficult job. I've had 2 world-class managers say that now. I think we can just breathe and take a step back.
3 if you include Mourinho.
Yeah, I don't.
Who's one more than any of them?
Yeah.
HG, over to you.
But the point with the contract, again, I see it reported everywhere as 18 months, but when it happened, wasn't it like 18 months with an option for an extra year? So it like the option.
Yeah, but he would have to agree. He would have to agree to that year.
Well, but how is that an option then? Then that wouldn't be an option. That would be an extension of the contract. Like, the option would be club side, surely. Right? The club are like, yeah, we'll pay you this for 18 months, and if it works, great. Like, I do worry that after the World Cup, right? Because the World Cup's only 10 months away, 9 months away. If Mancini goes, I do worry that Conte might be tempted by that. Right? I do think that's a possibility. But Italy may not make the World Cup.
He's done it before as well.
Yeah, he's done the job before, but that's the only thing that concerns me. The rest of it doesn't concern me. I don't see him leaving for another job outside of the Italy one, and I think he's quite comfortable. He's going to work with his friends. He gets to he can't lose at Spurs, because if things go wrong, everybody will blame the club / Levy, right? So he can't really lose. I just think that it's a red herring with the length of the contract. Like, Conte has said he's happy. We all know this. We all know there's stuff to be done. I agree with JP that, like, the kind of what the motto of the club, or what the club wants to do, is not what Conte does. Right? There is a massive disconnect there, where the club wants to build that team that was really good. It took us 4 seasons to build that squad, to build that. They weren't all signed the summer that Pochettino came. Right? Like, a lot of them were already at the club when Pochettino arrived. We don't have 7 players and with only 4 spots. In fact, it's probably the other way around. We've got maybe 4 players that we can bank on, and we need to fill 7. It's a massive job. But I don't know. Like, the comment that really stuck with me, and this is from Keith in the comments. Like, yeah, that's absolutely true. Like, when Leicester went out and bought Mahrez for 250 grand or whatever it was, and they went out and bought Conte for 5 or 6 million, like, it was the players that got them to where they were. Like, yeah, recruitment helps, but they were already quality. Like, Ranieri, his tactics, they weren't great. They were just really successful because he had some really good players who could do the things that they were being asked to do. We need to recruit better. That's the biggest thing for us. If we, as I said earlier, if we can go out and have the summer that Arsenal had last year, because it really did improve them, then great. We will be up there fighting for the spots where we want to be fighting. But it's we have to get the recruitment right. We just haven't done that. You can look at the play really from when we signed Son in 2015 and Alderweireld. How many players since then have we signed that have really come in and hit the ground running and been a Spurs, the kind of player that we want at the club? 3, possibly. It's not a big number, and we want to be getting 2 or 3 every summer, right? Like that can do that. So it's crazy. Our recruitment has to be better. Developing is all well and good, but the players that we've signed from Juventus were good enough to be signed by Juventus when they were 19 or 20 years old. They are clearly good players. Juventus didn't sign them to development. They signed them because they wanted them in their squad. They wanted them to be part of winning titles. That's what Juventus were there to do. So I don't think that. I think it's a bit harsh to say that we're looking to develop Kulusevski and Bentancur. We want them to be better players. So yes, we want to develop them, but they're clearly good enough for what we want to do now. They have to be. Otherwise, why would you go out and spend the money? We have to think that they will improve us from day one.
John?
I think she said everything, isn't he? Sorry. I just wanted to bring this up. Stephen has changed his username slightly. Obviously, we were talking about this earlier. I think this again was translated, wasn't it? It was wrong call. I don't know if you want to comment on it. But from my view, we've cleared out 4 players who weren't playing. They weren't playing in the squad. We brought 2 players in who are going to play.
Let's be really clear.
Numbers-wise, we're shorter. But I think ultimately, Ndombele was never going to wear a Spurs shirt again this season after that game we were at Morecambe.
No. Conte said the squad's more rounded though after this. So he sort of like contradicted something he said, and I think he's gone back. And I think obviously it's either been lost in translation, or he said something that he shouldn't have said. Because let's be really clear, those 4 players that went, he wanted them gone. Absolutely, Conte wanted them gone. The 2 players that came in, Conte wanted in. They are Conte players. He tried to sign Benteke when he was at Inter. So, absolutely. But when he says on paper, that leaves a lot to interpretation. So, yeah, numerically, obviously, it's weaker. That's obvious. But if you've got 4 players that you're not using and then you buy 2 players that you are going to use, then clearly it's not as black and white as the quote looks. And I think that's what he was getting frustrated at with the media. He said they were important players, the 4 that we let go. And then he clarified at this afternoon's press conference, important because the club spent a lot of money and salary on them. So he's looking at them as a financial asset, not important for the team that he wants to put on the pitch. So he was sort of criticising our transfer business in the past, not necessarily saying that it's going to be an issue going forward. Clearly, it is an issue being down on numbers for my money, but Conte's comments again have been completely taken out of context, and people lap it up, don't they? I mean, you've got that idiot who writes in the Telegraph. I can't remember his name. Probably a good thing because I'd bring the podcast into disrepute if I started slandering him. But he's a clown. He's an absolute clown. He's got an anti-Spurs agenda, and you see the complete nonsense that he's peddling time and time and time again. I think the headline of one of his articles today was like, "What it would take for Conte to walk away, and why this is Levy's last throw of the dice, and all of this." What an absolute load of bollocks!
Interestingly, a few people seem to know who you're talking about exactly in the comments.
And absolutely, feel free to block him or whatever you want to do. But it's just nonsense that gets written like that, and then it gets picked up by people on Twitter who think they know lots about football, where they've probably never kicked a ball or can't remember, or haven't been to many matches and don't really know much about football, and wafted around like we know everything about. Conte wants to go. He's 1 match away from quitting. Levy's an arsehole. All the rest of it. I mean, come on. There's more to it than that. There's always more to it than that. So that's my little rant for the night, because I just think that there's just such a lot of nonsense being peddled. You have to really look through. And like I said, I wouldn't comment on the Conte interviews until I'd read the transcript fully. And funnily enough, the next day, when I read it properly, guess what? It's been taken out of context by a few people who are looking to stir up a story about Spurs. And that is all it is. It's frustrating. I hate it. And I hate the way our fan base, or a vocal number of our fan base on Twitter, just seem obsessed with Conte walking out. Like Conte's going to go. Conte's going to walk out. Whatever. Get over it. If he walks, he walks.
I think the interesting thing is they seem to assume that if Conte, the threat of Conte walking is going to push Levy into spending money. I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure what would be necessary to push Levy into doing that, but I don't think a manager leaving is going to be one of them, because we've seen a few leave. It's so basic to be like, oh well, if he walks, then everyone's going to be upset. Well, newsflash, they are already upset. Nothing's really going to change. So why listen to it? Just support the team, right? We want Conte to stay. Chant his name. right? Like you want the players to play well, chant their name, get behind them. That's the way we're going to bringing up stories that, let's face it, will only divide Spurs doesn't help anyone. Like no one says you have to be just a sheep and follow along, but hang on a second. What's good for Spurs is that Conte stays. So how about we talk about Conte staying? That's it. We're not trying to get, like, if your focus is on getting Levy out the club more than getting Conte to stay, then sure, be divisive, because that's really what you're trying to achieve. It makes no sense. So just get on with it. Support the team and go from there.
What it does make sense of is those people do want Levy out. There are people who enjoy the club failing because it provides weight to their narrative that Levy's an arsehole and needs to go.
I mean, what they want is for Levy to spend money, right, or leave, right? Yeah. And Conte is somehow a thing they can use to make one of those two things happen, right? If Conte walks because the money's not spent, then everyone can be Levy out and they're happy, right? Because then we'll have no reason to like him, which, to be fair, is probably true. There aren't many reasons to like Levy as it is.
I don't like him. I don't like him. I just don't think he's the devil with, pointy horns and all the rest of it. And I believe a sane person, for my money, goes, okay, you brought a world-class manager in mid-season. You ain't going to get much business done January, sunshine, because I'll tell you why. No quality players move in January because the clubs want to keep them. So you're looking at the summer transfer window, right? So I will judge the board of directors and I will judge Conte and Levy at the end of the summer transfer window and the first few results of the season and what the team looks like. Probably give him till sort of October, November. That's what I'll judge him on. I'm not going to judge him now. It's unfair. It's completely unfair. It's ridiculous. And people need to get a grip. Tell me I'm wrong, John.
I'm not, but what I'm going to tell you is that there's 150 people liking it, only 60 likes. What's going on, guys? Come on. Press the little thumbs up. Help us out. It helps get the show pushed out there and gets more followers, and we can get better guests so me and HG can have a night off and all that sort of thing. Not that we've got anything to do. But we get more good-looking Aussies like JP.
Wearing beanies. Yeah, wearing beanies.
Wearing beatings in Norway.
Beanies in Norway.
Oh, sorry, 61 apparently. Oh, 73. It's jumped up. Thank you very much.
Brighton away has just been rescheduled. Apparently, it's not on TV, is it, John?
It's not on terrestrial. Well, not terrestrial. It's not on any of the UK TV channels. So if you want to watch it, you'll have to do it through other means that we've had to watch.
Come to my house.
I might have go to your house.
Come to my house. We'll have it on.
Bit of a commute. Obviously, I somehow managed to get Wolves on Sunday on my TV. I'm not sure how. I will be doing the same thing again on that night. But yeah, it's a bit annoying because I think the original game was on TV, wasn't it? Or was it not because of the Europa League? I can't remember. But unfortunately, Liverpool is on the same night. So, it's a bit crap, really. But we've got to play the game. Hopefully, they'll be as poor as they were in the game at the FA Cup. But I doubt it.
I'm sure I'm going back on this again, but I'm sure when I used to support Spurs in days gone by, we used to talk about the manager. We used to talk about the football on the pitch. We never used to talk about the owners every 5 minutes and blaming everything on them. Like, we just didn't do it. But anyway, JP, what's your take on that rescheduled game, Brighton away? Not good for the fans, is it?
It's rescheduled. I mean, for me over here, I turn on my phone and I watch it, and it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this idea of changing games for TV audiences in the UK when fans get stuffed around, particularly if it means moving to a Monday, which just seems ludicrous.
Well, you're so much better than Davo, I've got to say. who, by the way, is back in the chat. We like our Aussies here on the show. We were ultimately founded by one. So, we've got a great link from Australia. In fact, I think our third biggest fan base is in Australia. First biggest listener base, I should say. Not fan base, they're just people who listen to us, not really fans. Right, we've got a little bit of time to debate whatever you like. HG, you're never short of a word or two. So come on then. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I know we talked about fixtures a little bit, and so I'm looking at our fixture list for the rest of the season.
Oh,
Basically,
goodness.
and like we've got 5 games now. The 4 away games and then Everton at home. That every 3 days we'll have a game, 3 or 4 days, and then we'll get a week off before Man United. So that's nice in itself. That before the Man United game, we get some time to work on the training pitch. Hopefully, we'll still be within touching distance. But then we've got United, Brighton, and probably. I mean, I expect one of us, either West Ham or us, will go through. So we'll then have 2.5 weeks off between let's say the Brighton away game and then Newcastle after the international break. But you look at those things, like the Arsenal game is the only game now that has to be rescheduled.
Yeah.
But if we do progress in the cup competitions, then that West Ham game will have to go. If you make the semi-finals, then the Brighton home game will have to be rescheduled. So there's a lot to happen. I feel like we'll play a lot of games between now and the international break, and then maybe in April we won't play that many at all. We'll play probably every Saturday, only every Saturday maybe. So it's going to be a weird time. But as I said before, like the next 5 games with only 1 league home game maybe between now and April, like we have to win. We have to beat Burnley and Leeds. Anything at Man City is a bonus, right?
Yeah.
But we do have to go to Burnley and Leeds and get 3 points in both games. And yeah, fingers crossed our strikers start finding the net, because I think we've been creating chances, but we just haven't been taking them.
We have, absolutely. I completely agree. That Wolves game could have been a different outcome had Kulusevski's, open goal really that he missed gone in. I think Son had a 1-on-1, did he, or was it was pretty near as damn it to a 1-on-1. We had chances. Kane's header. There were lots and lots of chances in that game. We just didn't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's unusual for our forwards, to be fair. Gov sent a super chat in. Thank you, Gov, for your support. We appreciate it. Come on, Tottenham is all I want to hear at half time. Either that or the Kulusevski song to the melody of Paparazzi. Now, I don't know how this goes.
Kulusevski.
Oh, I
that
like
one, isn't it?
I'm
Yeah, I think that'd be good. That's a really good idea.
What are the other words to it, though?
Oh,
So
I'm the biggest fan.
Caller, have you heard?
Caller,
have you heard of Lady Gaga?
Of course,
Have you
I've heard
heard?
of Lady Gaga.
Okay, well that's the song. If you know the
I
song,
have tickets to a Lady Gaga gig. Actually, no, I know the song. I just wanted to know. I just thought there was a Kulusevski song. Like an actual song already written out there to the theme of Paparazzi. That's what I was saying. But
I have no idea.
Clearly, your blank faces tell me that I'm absolutely right.
I think my face is blank because you still can't say Kulusevski. But I love you for it.
Kulusevski. It's got a V in it.
Yeah, Kulusevski. It's basically the same.
That's what I said then. Oh, so we agree I'm right. Good. Daniel Harrison says, anyone think the pre-season tour to Korea will boost morale or make a difference? I sense a certain amount of tongue-in-cheek. JP. Near you, though. Can you just hop on a plane to Korea? It's not far.
Yeah, perfect. I got friends in Korea. Weirdly, it might actually make a difference because that pre-season tour to Korea is going to make absolute bank, which might help go and fund the transfer window because Sonny in Korea is like the biggest star that they have. So it's not going to help morale of the team. It's going to help Daniel Levy's morale, which might then help him open his wallet a little bit and back Conte. So it's all good things.
Gov also says, not my idea, someone on Twitter. See, Twitter's a wonderful place. You can get good ideas, you get hatred, you get hate mail, in my case. You get all sorts. Here we go. Here's the experts. Kulusevski. Yeah, that's what I said. Kulusevski.
Practice makes perfect, caller. Get it right. Kulusevski.
That's what I said. Kulusevski.
It's one of those words you have to say with an accent.
Right? When we're in the summer transfer updates where we had no one following the show and I could get away with it, right? His name kept coming up all the time. I'm sure people were putting it in the chat just to make me try and say something that they knew I would absolutely spoon up. And now I can't get away from it because we signed the bastard. So there you go.
Dejan, just say Dejan.
Kulu, I like that.
Kulu, just call him
Kulu.
Kulu.
Just call him. There you go. See, there you go. Just call him Kulu. I'm on it. Bentancur.
No.
Adrian, Bentancur.
Rodrigo.
I'm just going with Benny.
It's Bentancur. What's the problem?
Go on, HG.
What? No. It's just like I don't really care about him getting Bentancur wrong, right? But Kulusevski, it matters a little bit more to me.
I didn't get it wrong.
You said Bentancur. You forgot the second N. It's Bentancur. There's an N in there.
Benny.
Right.
I'm just going to call him Benny.
But his
Benny
mother's
and
name.
Kulu.
But
Benny
honestly,
and Kulu, there you go.
his mother's name is Coleman, so he's just mustard. There you go. There's your Davo bad joke for the night. Bentancur is mustard because his mother's name is Coleman. Yeah.
Well, they're not. I'll tell you what, they're not as mustard as Dave's jokes. I'm here all week. Here's one for you. Carlo Ancelotti's confirmed Gareth Bale's contract will be finished at the end of the season. So he'll be a free agent to go wherever. JP, how excited are you to see on Twitter and in the links in the media that apparently he's already signed a pre-agreement?
Mortified. Goes back to my comment earlier. If we've signed Gareth Bale, clearly there is a massive disconnect between, well, we already know, between Levy's statement for what he wanted the club to go back to, and then the hiring of Paratici to be the sporting director, who, you know, whether or not you wanted Fonseca, he came in and said, "You're too attacking for me. Let's be more defensive." And then brings in Conte, who is not going to play Gareth Bale, does not fit Gareth Bale's system. So if we're signing these players, I'm absolutely lost as to where the communication's breaking down between board and Conte. But other than that, yeah, really excited. I'd love to see people in the stadium shouting Gareth Bale's name again. And maybe we can see him
play for Spurs. So
yes,
that was the shame that he didn't get to play in front of a crowd at Spurs.
He did. Once.
Well, you 2,000 of you. Yeah,
3.
2,000 of you. 3.
3.
You were too busy eating food.
I was going to say that was my Caller versus Levy food challenge. I thought, I'm going to take some value out of the club, you type bastard. I'm going to eat everything. Everything. You're laying it on free. I'm going for everything. Should have made a video of that. I'd have made a killing.
I will say, Alistair, as far as I've been told, Gold, says that there's nothing to it. And I believe that, and I want to believe that, because at least it makes me think that we are thinking a little more strategically about the window and not just Daniel Levy going, Gareth Bale, there's a name I know.
I mean, he did score 16 goals for us, I believe, the season.
He did.
So, you know, he knows, there you go, he knows where the back of the net is, doesn't he, John? Would you like one last dance with Mr. Bale?
I'm not sure how he would fit into Conte's system, but
don't worry, because Conte's going to be gone by the end of the week, mate. Let alone next season. He's going to walk.
I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't cost the club a lot because he's going to retire in December after the World Cup, isn't he? He just needs a club for a few months. He's blatantly going to go somewhere like Cardiff, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
But yes, we didn't replace his goals. We didn't replace Vinicius' goals, and he wasn't even very good, I didn't think. And he could score some really good goals. He definitely wasn't the player we sold. But for some reason, Mourinho didn't really want to play him, whether he was really signing. Yeah, he didn't want to play. So he never got to match fitness until really late on, did he? That was the problem. He was always catching up. I think he could have scored even more goals for us had Mourinho not been our manager.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely still got a role to play and he can still play in the Premier League. My only problem with bringing him in is if we keep hearing that Conte is 3-5-2 and that's the way he wants to play. Gareth Bale does not fit in a 3-5-2. Like, he's not a wing back and he's not a striker.
He can play as a striker, to be fair.
He can play as a striker, but some can play as a striker. Like, can we go out and buy a striker?
I'd like that.
So but on that, what would you do with Son then? If we bought a striker and went 3-5-2, would you drop him?
Son and that striker have to fight it out.
Just rotate them, John. Every other club does, don't they?
So in which case Bale could play that role potentially.
I
Because he
don't-
can't play every game at his age. He did.
yeah,
I mean,
but-
HG, bring some decorum to this chaos.
Mate, me, the guy who offends everyone. Look, look, we have one striker, right? I mean, JP's right. Son is not a striker. He can score goals, but he's not a striker. Certainly not a central striker. It just doesn't work for him. It works with Kane because Kane drops deep, and then Son is basically he can run wherever he wants, and Kane will find him. But he doesn't. He's not a great combination person up top. You look at Bergwijn; it's kind of the same, right? Like Bergwijn could do a job. Kulusevski could do a job. Bale could do a job. Like if you said to me, Gareth Bale will come in for 2 years and be a substitute that will come in after 70 minutes if we need a goal, it's done. I'll take that. I don't need him to start every game. I don't need him to start big games. I just need the squad to have quality. And we talk about, winners and mentality. The guy's won, 4 Champions Leagues. So he does know what to do. Some of the goals he scored last season, he's clean through on goal and he just whacks it in the top corner, no questions asked. Like that quality, you can't go out and buy, really. You just can't. To get him on a free, if he wants to come to Spurs and he's happy to have a similar role to what he had last season, we would be foolish not to get him, right? It does think, you do worry about, what money he's going to want, because he's on, 600 grand a week at Rail.
He's on your terms, though, isn't it? Because he's a free agent.
No, it's on his terms. I mean, he'll decide what you want.
Yeah, but if he's asking too much money, we just don't have him, do we?
Well, but that's the point, isn't it? Like that is the point. So he will decide who he wants to play for based on the money he's willing to accept. Will Spurs pay 240 grand a week again, like we did when he was on loan? Maybe, I don't know. But like Conte wants those experienced players, and Bale would fit into it. We just don't know how or where. But for what he had with Alexis Sanchez last year, Alexis Sanchez didn't start many games. Doesn't start many games for Inter even now, but he would come on and score goals, and that's all you really want from someone. If your front two aren't doing it, then you need to have more options. And who's more likely to score off the bench, Bergwijn, Lucas, or Bale? The answer is clearly Bale.
I think you've sold me on Bale now. But I do think Spurs is the highest level he could play at coming at this point in time. If he's just looking for a team for a year to get him through to World Cup, we're the best level he can play at. So to that level, we probably do have a little more control on what we pay him, because his next option is, do I go to Cardiff or do I go to an Everton? And Everton might pay him some good money, but not 240 grand a week. So, if you can get him in on 100, absolutely go and do it. I just think that if you're getting Bale in as the other striker and you're keeping Bergwijn and you're keeping everyone else, Lucas, then if you have to play, if Kane is injured,
sell Lucas.
if Kane's injured and you have to play Son and Bale up front, then you're in trouble. And so I think Bale can be the Son replacement, but we need someone to come in who can play the Kane role, and we have no one who can do that. So if it's Kane or a striker, if it's Bale or a striker, it's a striker all day.
Yeah, look, I don't think Bale's the worst option in the world if you want someone to come and bang some goals in, but he's not progressive. He's not the future. So I'll be really honest. My thoughts are, I love Gareth Bale, and I was at that game where there was 3,000 fans, so I did get in to see him in a stadium one last time, which was closure for me. Because he came on and made very little impact to the game. I can honestly see him scoring goals wherever he'll go. I'd happily take him, but equally, I'm a bit meh about it, if I'm being really honest. Taking free kicks.
If it just means Kane never takes a free kick.
Oh, please. I'm hoping that Kulu can take free kicks, to be honest, because anything to keep going. It was ridiculous when he got that free kick on the last weekend in the stadium. It was just like everyone around me was saying the same thing. Why? Look, the reality is I'd be surprised if we do sign Bale. He's not a Conte-style signing whatsoever. But if we do, I wouldn't have an issue with it.
He is a Conte-style signing. He likes, he won the league with flipping Ashley Young. Took him on a 18-month deal. Like that is the type. But the issue is he doesn't fit the Conte system. But he is a Conte type signing. He likes to get experienced players that will come in, and they won't start every game. But he doesn't want them to or need them to.
There you go. Dave Clark says Conte wants ready-made players, not ones that were 4 years ago.
I also want to add, look, we talk about Bale, staying fit for the World Cup. I don't want Wales to make the World Cup. Sorry, John, I don't.
Hang on, I'm half Welsh too, Boyle.
Yeah, my name is Welsh, but they're playing Austria. So sorry, I want Austria to beat Wales. I don't want Wales at the World Cup. Like, if that happens, then Bale might retire, and this whole conversation is because that game is in what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, the Wales-Austria game. So again, talking about him staying fit for the World Cup, like, they have to win 2 games to make it, and they may not.
That's right. I mean, I wouldn't play him at centre back alongside Ledley, but
But hang on, but as a left-sided centre back, Bale. He's got the passing range.
He started as a left back.
I like that one. Conte will take 30-year-olds as long as he wins. True story.
35-year-olds.
Yeah.
Ashley Young was like 35 when he went into.
I'm in with a shout.
But like you say, he fitted the system. He played wing back, so it was perfect for him. This is a question. Is it time we talk about Scarlett? Yeah, I think he's too young, personally.
Captain Scarlett. Look, he's not putting up trees at the moment, is he? Anyway,
he's 17. He's 18. Yeah. He shares a birthday with my daughter. I think he's 18 in 5 weeks.
Long story short, then no. He's going to go on loan somewhere probably, and that's what he needs. He needs 2 or 3 loans, unless he comes through like a superstar. Very rarely do players like Wayne Rooney come along, like 17 years old with that physique and able to hold their own in the Premier League. Oh, I know you've put that comment up, HG.
I don't often put things up.
Don't tell him he's right. God
has to be there.
Jesus, we hear enough of it already. We don't need to know. We just don't need that. Oh, God. Paul Russell. Only because I love you, Paul. Yes, he will be. I don't understand why people keep questioning it so much. Even he is basically saying he'll be there at the summer. John, will he be there in the summer?
Yes.
JP, will he be there in the summer?
Yes.
HG, will he be there in the summer?
Summer 2023, yes.
Oh, he's got big time.
Oh, he's gone on. He's gone full HG on it.
I will say that if we know anything about the way Conte leaves teams, you will know if he's leaving. Like, it will be very clear that he's about to leave.
He won't open. I mean, I did tweet this, so those of you who follow me at CheeseroomOC, by the way, on Twitter. He started the interview with basically saying, "I'm really happy at Spurs." Like, I'm really happy at Spurs. That was the opening line. What more do you need? Why is everyone obsessed? I just want to call on the fan base. Let's just look forward and have a bit of positivity. And like I think the super chat from Gov said, let's cheer the team on rather than booing them all the time. Let's look positive rather than look negative. Let's think that Conte's here for a couple of years rather than he's here for the next 5 minutes. Ignore the negative nonsense and be positive. We can get a result at City. We can get the top 4. It's unlikely, but it's possible. And realistically, the only input you have as a fan is to get behind the team, right? You can get behind the team or you can moan about it, so I know which one I choose. We've been going an hour and 33 minutes. I want to thank you all very much for your time this evening. John, thanks for joining us from the South Coast. Storm, wind-battered South Coast.
Yeah, the roof is still on, so I'm good for tonight. Hopefully,
to be honest, I was a bit worried you'd have power.
So was I at one point.
JP, thanks for joining us, mate, all the way from down under.
Thanks for having me. It's been great chatting with you all and shutting down the Enix/Conte out mob.
Pop another shrimp on the Barbie, mate. Or not, as it's 13 degrees there today. Can't believe it's like it was warmer here the other day. It's 15 degrees yesterday. I'm not moving to Australia. Can I just say, wait, as for Winks, yeah, let's not talk about Winks. HD, thanks for joining us.
No, my problem. My problem. I was happy to come on. Thank you, Gov. We love your support. You're not always right because I'm not always right. That was a weird comment, but yeah, it's Spurs. Isn't life better with Spurs? It really is. Even if we want to moan, I can't imagine a life without Spurs. So it's been great to be on the show. Thanks for everyone who's watching. 125 right now. Caller, don't forget the football prizes stuff. Brilliant.
It's here. I was going to say, if you're not a patron already for £3 a month, what are you doing? Because you get 3 for 2 tickets and all of these wonderful prizes for football prizes. You get access to our fantasy football. You get access to Predict the Score weekly. You get access to a chat room. You get merchandise. By the way, there's going to be an online merchandise shop launched soon for those who want to pay for merchandise. If you're a patron and you pay for a year up front, you get the merch for free. T-shirt, mug, badge. Thanks very much. Anyone over 12 months will qualify. Patrons, look out for your packages in the post soon, courtesy of the General Franco. Football prizes, $3.95 a ticket, 65 tickets left for the Harry Kane signed and framed shirt using the code POD10. Thanks to us, you get a 10% discount on all these tickets, and Spurs versus Everton hospitality tickets as well. And coming up, there's Leeds versus Spurs hospitality too. Do check out our Patreon. I'm going to put it up in the chat one last time. The website is down the bottom. We've had loads of new people join, and we appreciate your support and every single one of you that does. So do check out that link. It's only £3 a month. Daniel Levy would say we're undercharging. And on that bombshell, I bid you adieu.
One thing, sorry, just got to remind, there will be a pod tomorrow night because we're playing Saturday. And the General assures me it's coming out tomorrow night.
There you go. So look out for that. What? In the evening?
He said,
the batch?
I messaged him and he says, yes, it'll be out tomorrow.
They're going to talk about us getting spanked at City live after the fools.
I mean, it might be Sunday, depending on what the result is, but
basically they're all doing some homework now on the Burnley preview, which will be about 30 minutes long.
And we are back on Monday right here in the cheese room. Until then, we're going to beat City. Ignore all the naysayers. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Norwich City. Yeah, Norwich City. Yeah.
JP, I want to hear it. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Can I get a mate?
Mate.